All right, welcome everybody. If I did this right, we are live. You're here with Tom and George. Hello, George.
Hello, Tom.
Hello.
Hello.
Now, I
What is
need
it
a
called? I heard there's a name available that I'm thinking about using called
what,
Crypto Boy.
crypto. Oh boy.
Sorry, guys. Hello, everyone. Hopefully, everybody's having a good day. It's a lot of fun out there.
I gotta try to. I'm still setting myself up. Give me just one moment. But hello to everybody. We just moments ago, maybe 20 minutes ago, hit another new high for the year on Bitcoin. So this is another impromptu live stream.
So, is it true, Tom? We're going to do live streams every time it hits a new high for the day. Is that what we're saying now?
When we have a day, not only a new high, but like we had this was a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it's a mediocre nothing day, but on these kinds of days, I mean, today was another great day.
It was.
I'm still just
Ross
doing.
is. I'll just answer this. Ross, I know crypto's going to answer before me. I wasn't involved with Bitcoin when it went through its last upward cycle. Are 5% moves normal when it pumps?
Yes.
Yes. We both said it together. Yes.
I mean, normal. It's here's what I would say. Yes, it is, but I will tell you, I don't care. That's a great day, and I'm going to celebrate every one of those types of days. But days like this happen, and I'll tell you, the Bitcoin miners really underperformed a little bit today, and I'm gonna put a caveat on that and talk a little bit more about that. We just right now again passed our new high for the day and for the year as we're speaking. I'm going to put a caveat on that because the run up in the last few days in particular, in the last few weeks, has been just astronomical. So today, Bitcoin, the Bitcoin miners didn't necessarily do their full leverage thing on Bitcoin. Some of them took a little bit of a breather. There was a lot of profit taking, I think, in the middle of the day today. But I mean, now we're running again. We just ran off the top of the screen. I gotta move the screen down.
Did we really? Wow. Look at that, guys.
So we
This
just
is
hit
awesome.
$44,403. We just hit, which is a new high for the year. I mean, and this is going fast. As you guys know, I'll pull up the daily chart in a minute. I'm still fixing my screen. All right. All right. That's good enough. Close enough. Okay. So let me pull up the daily chart because this is wild. I mean, this is today's candle. The candle is not closed. You can see we're at the absolute top of the candle. We're at the highs of the day. We're at the highs of the year. We just took out another little mini line. I'm on the 1 week. Let me go to the 1 day. That was a 1 week candle. My apologies, everybody. This is the 1 day, and I'm going to zoom in because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 days, and this comes right after, we spent these couple of weeks right here. This purple line on November 15th, we got to 37,885. Man, does that seem like a long time ago now based on what's happened in the weeks later. We're coming up on, that was, $7,000, not quite yet, but coming up on $7,000 ago. We went sideways here and had some nice consolidation. And then as soon as we broke out of this, I mean, you can see it's just been one green candle after the next. Big, big candles. We're up. So this is a 17% run in 5 days. I mean, that's a gigantic run, especially when I zoom out a little. We just had one of these runs. So we've done 3 things in the last month and a half. We had this big run up to here. This was a 27% run up. So really, you know, we talked a lot about this on the channel. By the way, I'm going to interrupt myself. If you have not yet, and I see a lot of people have, if you would be so kind as to smash the like button, it's much appreciated. It helps the channel out a lot. And it
And
helps
if you want Bitcoin to keep going up, hit it. That's what I heard.
That's the word on the street is there's a direct correlation between that and Bitcoin. Did the button work? Sorry if that showed up 20 times. Having a little trouble
Craig,
with
where
my
do
screen.
I verify that, by the way? Craig, if was that on X? I'll let you keep going, Tom. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
He's saying that someone is buying $500 billion worth of Bitcoin. That's why it's pumping.
Well, yeah, Qatar, and I don't know, I see Craig saying Qatar. I know there's a couple sovereigns, and maybe that was the one that announced they're going to be moving, you know, I think it was $500 billion. I don't remember the exact number. I would have to find the story, but yes, there's
Well, I thought it was 700 billion.
I don't remember the number. You might be right. I'm not sure. And, you know, remember when people, whether it's a company or a country or whatever the case may be, when they make an announcement like that, obviously it's very, very, very bullish, but that doesn't mean they're just going to go tomorrow and, you know, put $500 billion in. They're going to do, you know, they're going to dollar cost into that over time. And they may have already started for all we know. So who knows where this run goes? And that's a classic example of the fact that that's just one announcement. That's one. And by the way, for them, that's not even a lot of money. There's dozens of other countries that have that kind of money that, you know, they can take a portion of, you know, a country is just like an individual household or a company. They have a certain amount of money, and, you know, if they're going to invest, and a lot there's been a lot of talk that a lot of these extremely oil rich countries, in order to diversify, they're going to take some of that money and put it into cryptocurrency. So I don't think this is the last announcement like this we're going to get. And this is just one of the many, many, many gigantic pools of money. And there are other pools of money that dwarf this in size that I think are still yet ahead to start to move into Bitcoin. So there's a lot, and cryptocurrency. I won't just say Bitcoin, right? But
you know what? You want to know what's bad about that? Is my tongue. I can't say the things I want to say. There's a spot in my tongue where I'm biting down on it.
You're biting your tongue because you want to.
I'm biting my. I can't say anything. You know what I'm saying. It's that oil-rich companies are just gonna steal our money if you don't get into Bitcoin, people. Not financial advice.
They're beating us to it. Well, they're not beating us to it.
No, they're not beating us to it. It's amazing what I wonder what one day is actually going to cost me in interest. By the way, thank you, crypto. I wonder what one day is going to cost me in interest to make my purchase. Somebody owes me a little bit of money, and I'm going to put it into some crypto tomorrow. And just today to tomorrow, I wonder how much that could be like.
Oh, versus having left it in well. Jeez. You bring up a good point, because there's, I believe, $6 trillion, and correct me if that number's a little bit off, but somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 trillion right now in money markets and, you know, short-term CDs. There's going to be a big portion of that money that gets put elsewhere. Now, it's not all going to get put into cryptocurrency. It's not all going to get put into Bitcoin, but we are now, I believe we've officially begun the period of time where interest rates are going to start to get lower, and people's appetite for more risk on investments has already started. We've seen it in the price action of the Bitcoin miners. We've seen it in the price action of a lot of the small cap, high growth stocks. We're just at the very beginning of that. Some days are going to be better than others. Today, that's the other thing. The other thing that happened today is, let me press refresh and get the real numbers and make sure they're real.
You know what that is a good sign of? by the
What?
way, with if they're doing this, which this is thank you so much, crypto. Um, it's a good sign that they don't believe in any other currency besides the U.S. currency. By the way, that's the reason why they're putting it there.
Putting it into crypto.
I mean, that means that they're losing faith in the U.S. currency too. But the whole BRICS thing. Like, damn it, I'm not supposed to say these things. Sorry.
Chris said, talking and investing, you go one time outside of America in your life, question mark. You were in Europe. Yes, I have been to Europe.
You've been
I'm
to
not
Europe?
a big traveler. I'm really not. I mean, there's still 500 places that, are on people's checklist to go see in the U.S., which is where I live, that I have not gone to see. So I'm not a very big traveler.
He
But
won't
yes,
live. He
I have
won't
been
leave
to.
his. He's like 10 minutes outside of his house, guys.
Yes, it's
Tom.
the grocery store is a big trip for me. So
Tom, so here's my question. Saphir and Annie. Any information on that or no?
any information on
We
any?
know I had a big pump today, right?
It was up, yes. So let's go back to the list. All right, we're having a little bit of a pullback back to 44,300, by the way. So 44. Oh, I'll answer that question. But we
hang
just
on, they traded 4,000. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We just hit, while we were busy talking, we just hit $45,000 on the dot.
This is insane.
Bitcoin, $45,000.
This is insane.
On our Friday, today is Tuesday, on our Friday live stream, our first poll was, are we going to hit 42,000 by the end of the year? We're at 45,000 and it's Tuesday. So that's why we're doing a live stream. This is some price action right here. Now, we just pulled back to 44.3. There may have been some liquidations right there, but it looks like we're marching back up. We will wait and see. $45,000, is that going to be the high of the year? I think we're still set up for a lot more room to run. I will go back to the 1 day and say this is further than I thought this is further and faster than I thought we were going to get in 2023. I was really confident. I've been talking, for those of you familiar with the channel, I've been talking for months. I thought we'd get to 42,000 by the end of the year. But we're at 45,000 on December 5th. So this is exceeding my expectations. But, based on what the 1 day technicals look like, I don't think we're done here. But who knows? Not financial advice, of course. Please, everybody, you can see how crazy volatile this stuff is. So I always like to mention that because it is very important. FOMO is real, and I know that a lot of people have the instinct to just, I'm going to miss the boat. I got to get in. So, but before you do any of that, please do your due diligence. Know what you're buying. Know your stocks. Have conviction in your stocks. Enough said.
Trading volume up on any 4,458%.
Wow. So
yesterday.
That was
yesterday. That wasn't even today.
So let me go to any. So average volume, and this probably is way higher due to yesterday's number. So even with yesterday's giant number, their average volume is 400,000 shares a day. They did 25 million today. If we go to the historical data, yeah, look at this, 150,000, 170,000, then all of a sudden 6.6 million, 11 million, 25.5 million. This is taking off. I don't know what's going on with any. With all that said, even with this monster run up, this is a $25 million market cap company. So that just shows you, and let's go back to the chart. This is the last 3 days for any. So first of all, welcome everybody who is a member. We just did a members only live stream. So thank you very much to all the members. I see a bunch of you guys jumped in and joined us over here. So welcome and thank you for joining us here on our everybody live stream. I want to go through. This is the last 3 days for Sphere 3D, stock ticker any, up 180% in 3 days. These are the kind of moves that can happen in the crypto universe, in the Bitcoin mining universe. Now, obviously, this was a nano cap stock. Even after 180% move to the upside, this is still a nano cap stock. It could do this. It could move up another 100% and still be a nano cap stock. I mean, this was a very, they were down. I think this company was down over 99% from its high to its low. Let's just quickly, I don't know what that is, but that's what I'm doing with it. I mean, look how far you got to go to get, I mean, this is crazy time. So I don't know what this spike was here, but technically, I mean, we can go from, I'm not even going to go from here. Skip here. Let's go here. This was October of 2021. So this is when Bitcoin peaked. I mean, from there to here, I mean, that's 99%. So the stock was down 99%. So, you know, even when it has a move up like this, it's still down after 182% move to the upside. And again, I'm not even going from the high, remember. I'm going to skip whatever this anomaly was here and go from this number. I mean, it's still down 97% from its highs. So, if any does have something going on, I mean, there's room to the upside here beyond belief. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not invested in any. I have no intention of investing in any. I'm just in my positions in Bitcoin miners are full. And if they're not full, and I do plan on buying some more, I've done a bunch of research on some other companies already, and I'm very happy with what I see. So this is too speculative for me, but having said that,
could this be a short squeeze?
I mean, I think this is beyond, maybe, you know, a couple of people in the members,
short squeeze.
A few people in the members only mentioned that, you know, they had some good news or potential good news regarding a lawsuit. Let's take a look at their outstanding shares. I mean, how many shares of this company are there? Away to their financial statements today. This was listing November 15th, so I don't know. You know, I don't know. Something's going on here. But with these nano cap stocks, this can happen. So that's, you know, whoever recommended that, I hope they did it, because I mean, that turned out to be the greatest idea. But, you know, my response was, you know, it's not for me. So I don't know those stocks well enough. I mean, I do look at every single one of these every month, but, you know, I haven't done deep dives into any of the three of those in a while. My Sphere 3D deep dive is 8 or 10 months old, and, you know, that's, you know, if I was going to make an investment, I would want to jump in again. So it looks like there's also options on any, someone's mentioning. So imagine what those did, if this is what the stock did. So looking at the 15-minute, so we'll see what happens. You know, you want to talk about a short squeeze. We may have had some liquidations. You can see a couple of big 15-minute, this is 15-minute candles. So there was twice today where the volume spiked, and, you know, maybe we got some liquidations on this. I mean, this isn't ridiculously large candle, but this did pump up to exactly 45,000. So I'm wondering, is there a sell wall at 45,000? I mean, that's not a number I was expecting to talk about today. So let's just put it that way.
That's impressive.
So
but you shouldn't be going all in at one time anyways. You should be DCAing unless you know what you're doing really, really, really well.
Or you know, or unless it's an amount of money you're willing to, if you want to take a risk and you're willing to lose all your money, just understand your risk reward. We're dollar cost average type players, but I know some people do swing trades, some people do day trades, but you you should know what you're doing. First, now, obviously this has already happened, so you just tell it like it is.
Is any a miner? Yes, it is. It is a Bitcoin miner. Did I lose you, Tom?
No, I'm just typing a poll.
I'm
This
getting
is
nervous.
a yes or no. Let's see. Be honest, everybody. There's no reason not to be. This is anonymous, and let's just see. And I'll tell you my answer.
Hang on, don't release it.
It's
We
too
got to
late.
get
I
4
had
more
already
people to
pressed
like it
yes.
before we do the poll. Oh, man.
I already pressed the
Can't
button,
even get
but
to 100? Oh, man.
man, oh man. So
We pet yes. For me, it's a yes.
if
But you guys all know.
please smash the like button. It helps the stream regarding Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. It's a growing group. We're starting to get some interest.
Yeah,
So
it's amazing. Tom, you know what's really amazing?
what?
Is how easy it is to do these stream. Do you remember some of the times, guys, we would come in and we'd be getting ready to do the stream and we'd be like, oh, it's going to be miserable today.
Oh,
We're just, do you
yeah.
remember? Oh my goodness. Especially in
Down
like
day
October. Oh my
number
God.
200.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This is so nice. It's so nice to be on the other side of that.
His Honor said, I think 45,000 quote is incorrect. This is on Coinbase. So I don't know. Maybe that was just a spike on this one trading platform.
Right.
Bitcoin, on every platform, Bitcoin trades with different numbers. So that might be an anomaly. Maybe 44,500 was more. Let me just switch to a different one.
You know, and that's what's interesting. Here's a great example of how much different the exchanges can be on the prices. And remember, these guys are grabbing the price from the exchange and they're meshing them together to come up with their prices.
So on Bitfinex, the high of the day was 44,488. So it does depend on which exchange you go on. So somewhere around, so 45,000 is probably an anomaly on Coinbase. So it looks like, this is more realistic. But even with that said, let's call it 44,500. Was that beyond your expectation for 2023? I will tell you, my answer to that is yes. That was beyond my expectation. And I feel like I don't feel like this, there's no question. For the last 4 or 5 months, I've been significantly more bullish on Bitcoin than the marketplace has, even than, the Bitcoin mining community has. And this is beyond where I thought we would get.
Even more than Marathon.
Yeah, a Marathon's got to be scratching their head. They came right out on their conference call and said they expect to, they were very bearish on the price of Bitcoin from their conference call to the halving. So since then, Bitcoin has basically ran up. So we'll see. Between now and the halving, maybe it'll pull back. But they were clear. They were quoting their, quote, internal data was showing, that they did not feel like good things were ahead for the price of Bitcoin. We talked about that at the time. We disagreed with that. I disagree with that. I'll speak for myself. I was bullish. My price target for the year was 42,000. So I felt very comfortable, and I've been saying so for months and months. I was 50-50 on 45,000. I thought there was a chance. We've been doing polls on that. That's a poll we've done every single time for a while now. And so I've always said, I'm a yes at 42,000. I'm a maybe at 45,000. And that's by the end of the year. So to get here, even if it was only 44,500, and let's call it that because it does look like, let's go to another exchange.
Tom, as you're doing that, does this change anybody's 5-year prediction? And so if you're in Bitcoin for the next, 30 days or 30 minutes, I don't know if that's the smartest thing. At least that's not for me or for Tom. In the next 5 years is what we're really focused on. So whether you get in at 44,000 or 52,000, the key is where do you think it's going in 5 years? If you think that somebody wrote something about that means it could go down 40%. Well, there's a lot of things that are coming. You got to see the momentum in Bitcoin and crypto, and you can see the momentum building with all the different people talking about all the different avenues of the money coming in. Remember, this is what people forget too: is we were at $3.5 trillion about 20 months ago now, Tom.
About November of 2021, so just over 2 years ago.
So 2 years ago. So that money's coming back in, and this time it's going higher. This is not financial advice. You make your own decisions with your own money. But my money, I'm betting it on crypto. You just have to. I mean, unless you think that you're better off put it in the savings account, and
get your 4 or
then that's up to you.
5% right now.
And listen, you're right. And now, here's the other thing too: is I believe this. You got to have a balance. You can't put all your money in anything, because I don't think that's a smart decision. I don't do that with my money.
It's a very high
like
risk way to
drawers.
Some goes in the top drawer. Some
Yeah.
goes in the middle drawer.
But
some on the mattress.
But I mean, and listen, I have always said long term that I thought Bitcoin would do extremely well. The middle term, just short term, I was a little scared. But now that, people are starting to talk about putting this billions of dollars in and this billions of dollars in, what percentage of people will own a full Bitcoin in 5 years? That's what you got to ask yourself.
As a percentage of the population of the world, it's infinitesimal.
Yeah.
Darren saying, George, most consider 2026 a bear cycle year. So if the 4-year cycle plays out, to Darren's point, somewhere in 2025 would be the absolute blow off top if we get one. I think if things play out the way they had in the past, and there's no guarantee of that. There's a lot of things changing, but this is what has happened. The cycles haven't been identical, but they've been similar enough to say, there's a clear pattern there. So 2024 would be a good year, and 2025 would be a great year, and then that's true. 2026, if things played out, that would be the pullback. In the past, that would be a crypto winner. I'm going to make the same stupid prediction that I made the last time around, only this time I think I'm going to be right. This is not financial advice. I don't think we're going to have a crypto winter in the next cycle. I do think we will have healthy pullbacks. Nothing goes up in a straight line, so I'm not saying it's just from here to a million. It's just straight up, and probably, if we're looking at the 3 years, I'm super bullish on 2024. I'm super bullish on 2025. I do think there's a pullback out there, and maybe it'll be in 2026. But I would be very, very, very surprised if it's a 70 or 80 or 85% pullback like we've gotten in the past. I just think there's too much. We've passed a tipping point. I really thought we were there last cycle, and I was dead wrong. So the speech I'm giving right now is pretty similar to what I thought in, let's say September, October, November of 2021. I thought we'd have a pullback, but it would be a 20, 30, 40% is what I was saying the last time around. And I think that could even happen again. But there is a monumental difference between a 40% pullback and a 70 to 85% pullback. I just don't think that's going to happen next time. There's too much adoption that's going to occur between now and then. And once there's a Bitcoin ETF, once people have this in their retirement accounts, there's too much big institutional money that is not going to want to tolerate the volatility of 70 to 80% moves to the downside. So that's my thought. I mean, we didn't get there the last time around, but I think it's fair to say, even if you think it's going to take longer than we expect for a Bitcoin ETF, I think most of us believe it will certainly happen long before the next bear market portion of the cycle. That's my thought process. Let me know in the chat, if you guys disagree. I was wrong last time. I'll tell you, I thought this last time, but everything I thought last time, we're a million miles down the road from there right now. So we'll see.
Edmund, you missed one stream in the last year and a half, probably, and it was the Friday after Thanksgiving. You should have been on the stream, by the way. It was a great stream, one of the best I think we've ever done, Tom. But at that point in time, I took 12K off of the table. I felt that I don't see 12K back as a realistic number at this point in time. Now, listen, here's the thing about predictions with coins and Bitcoin and crypto and everything. It's fluid. And what does that mean? Every day things are changing. So even though I say this today, tomorrow it might be different. So don't say, oh, George, you said, no, I'm not that guy. I'm this guy. I will make a decision every single day as I invest my money into crypto.
Based on the latest and greatest information that you have at that moment.
Right. And right now, the catalysts that I see are up. But I wouldn't be surprised if we had a black swan event or something major happening. Sometimes when you see things move in a drastic move like this, they go the other way. I'm hoping it's not Bitcoin. I don't think it is, but you never know. Because this is a game, guys, and the game is this. How can we keep all the money away from the poor bastards?
That's the same game, right? Big institutions, big money.
I mean, guys,
we don't have to mention the names.
Right, you don't. I know we know them. We say them.
They want all the money.
They want it. I don't know why.
Some of it. They don't want most of it. They want all of it. So it's our job to try to figure out a way to get our piece of, our share.
Right. And I think now, so for me with crypto, what I think crypto is a life-changing event. Maybe not in a year or 2 years or 3 years, but I think when you start looking 5 or 10 years as an investment strategy, I think you got to consider crypto as one of the reasons to change your financial conditions. I don't think, I'm sorry, and I know you guys are going to not agree with this statement, but if I was to bet on crypto overall versus the stock market in the United States in the next 5 years, I'm in crypto.
Oh, I don't think that's going to be close. I think crypto will outperform the market by some magnitude, as it has since its inception. I mean, if you were to look at that chart, it's the growth in the stock market doesn't even show up on the chart compared to the growth in Bitcoin. It's so minuscule. So now,
and listen, this advice here, guys, is for you guys to do your research so that you don't miss out on one of the greatest opportunities that could be in your life. Crypto Fever would agree, and Crypto Fever got me onto the winning side, as he said.
Yeah, that's true. George did mention that to me off stream. So that's a true statement.
But my thing was, I'm okay with what I said because we got the 16, and you got to remember, I was calling 12 way back when it was still in the 40s, way back when. So, yep, even Edmund agrees. Crypto over stocks, yes, in spades. I think that, we have some problems in the United States right now that need to be addressed. And that if we don't address them, I don't think the stock market's going to do as great as it's done the last 10 years. Which, hey, it still has outperformed anything else besides Bitcoin.
Even if the stock market does its thing, if cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in specific does its thing, even to a lesser extent, it should outperform. And, regardless of whether or not, and Edmund's mentioning he disagrees, he does think we'll have a 60% pullback in 2026. So call that a crypto winter. I think that'd be a fair statement. Or actually, Edmund said in the fall of 2025. 60% plus down from the all-time high. So opinions will vary. I don't think we're going to have that. I could be wrong. But to George's point, whether or not we have cycles and we have highs and crypto winners, if you take a 5-year, 10-year, 15-year look at this, if you're doing the Michael Saylor approach to this, he doesn't really care about any of those things. If there's a crypto winner, he'll just buy another $600 million of Bitcoin like he just did in November of this year, the month that just finished. So that's the second most Bitcoin he's ever bought in a month. And when I say him, I mean MicroStrategy. So
which Which brings me to another point, and you know what? This is from Tom, but I'm just going to paraphrase it. As soon as you make a purchase of anything, have an exit strategy for that purchase. So if you think you buy Bitcoin at whatever it is, 44.5, and you want it to go to 50,000, sell it. If you think you want, whatever your plan is, do your plan. And then also do it on the downside too. If you have Bitcoin at 44.5, but your risk tolerance is only 10%, sell it. But that's how you guys have to trade and when you're in this market is you have to do you. Not what Tom would do or not what George would do. You have to do you. But we're just saying right now there's some unbelievable opportunities in crypto, and I think that everybody needs to really look into crypto if they want to change their life. My opinion.
And I agree. I think this is, potentially life-changing money, and even if it's not life-changing money, it can be, maybe a good part or a great part or the best part of your retirement plan or whatever the case may be. So, like George said, everybody's got a different risk tolerance. Everybody has a different time frame they're working on. So everybody's plan is going to look different, but you should have a plan.
Right, right. And which gets me to the big miners, Marathon, Riot, CleanSpark.
Yeah, we got
Where's their growth today, Tom?
We got to include CleanSpark now.
I said CleanSpark.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just noting that they are now, for the beginning of time until
company.
Now, it's been Marathon and Riot. And they're still bigger than CleanSpark, but I just want to do a quick, I'm going to use Yahoo Finance. These numbers aren't always perfect, so everybody bear in mind these may or may not be exactly correct, but I'll tell you, I can see if they're way off. Marathon's about a $3.4 billion company. So that's up significantly. Marathon's way, way up this year. If I showed you the beginning of the year numbers, which I may do in a minute, Marathon's up, I don't know, 300, 400%, whatever the case is. We'll take a look. So they're 3.4 billion. They passed Riot for almost every single week this year. Not every week, but for almost every week this year, 90% of the time, Riot was the largest market cap. But Marathon has now passed Riot. Riot is now at $3.127 billion. For whatever reason, they got no bump at all off of their press release. We'll talk about that press release, and I think I may know some of the reasons why people are waiting to move in on this. So that's 3.1 million. Then you've got, let's go to CleanSpark. CleanSpark is now a $1.7 billion company. This was a $500 million company like a month ago.
What did you say?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, there's two components to that. Number one everyone's going to love, and one, people don't like so much. Number one, the price of this stock, and let's go to the chart. This stock has gone, for the third largest market cap, this is an incredible run. From November 10th to December 5th, so that's less than 1 month, CleanSpark's up 170%. So,
wow.
For a large cap, we looked at some small caps, some micro caps, nano cap stocks. There's a big difference between getting from $12 million to $25 million and getting from $500 million to $1.7 billion. That is a much more difficult journey. So that's what CleanSpark did. So, this is a big part of the reason. The other part of the reason is obviously they've done some stock dilution. So the more shares of stock times the stock price, obviously the higher your market cap goes. But hard to complain about their stock dilution when they're up 170% in less than the last month. This has been an absolutely spectacular investment if you've been in this period of time. They are also, and I'll have to double check and see if anybody did so today, but I don't think so, although it's worth checking any. But I know they didn't. I don't have to check, but I will. CleanSpark's the only one who's passed their highs from this summer. All the Bitcoin miners hit a high for the year of 2023 in the middle of July. none of the other Bitcoin miners are back to that number yet. So you can see CleanSpark has blown way past this number. That's this purple line at $7.60. So they are now up 22% from that. And this is kind of why I was, let's just say, I was a little disappointed in the price action today. You know, they were up. They did get, I believe, over $10. Yes, they got to $10.05 today. So all of the Bitcoin miners pulled back this afternoon for various reasons. We can all speculate as to why that is, but the fact is they all pulled back. But it's very difficult to complain. You know, CleanSpark was still up 5% today, and they're up 170% in less than a month. Now, taking a look at Riot, you know, George talked about 3 companies, and, you know, the other 2 are Riot and Marathon. Riot was up nicely today. If we go from yesterday's close to today's high, Riot was up, you know, somewhere between 6.5% and 7% in the middle of the day today. It came all the way back down to less than 1%. Marathon did a little better, but it took a similar journey. It got a little bit higher, and it ended up a little bit higher, but it did pull way back from just under 8% to 2.8%. So there was a big pullback. So earlier in the stream, I did say I'm considering doing some dollar cost averaging. I think today's price action might have given us a little bit of an opportunity. I don't want to go crazy because, you know, we're in the middle of a massive run up, but I'm strongly considering, and please, this is not financial advice. Nobody do what I do because I did it, because I may be right and I may be wrong. But I'm thinking strongly about buying some Riot and some Marathon. So we'll see what happens. You know, if these open, if they gap up in the morning, maybe I'll change my mind. We'll see. And it's not going to be a big purchase. If it is, I already have Riot's already one of my big positions, and it's kind of time for me to dollar cost average into that one. And I feel like it's given an opportunity. Marathon put out their operational report today. One of the things in their monthly operational report, by the way, if you enjoy this live stream, please smash the like button. It helps the stream. George, I think we're getting very close to maybe having a record stream. So that's why I interrupted myself to ask everybody to, I don't know, is the button not working? Are you guys seeing this? Am I using this thing right? There we go. All right. Anyway, pardon the interruption. If you would be so kind, please smash the like button. It helps the live stream in real time. We're getting very close to a record live stream on a record day for Bitcoin. So we're doing our best to try to spread awareness to Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. Anyway, I interrupted myself to the point where I'm thinking about buying into Riot and Marathon. Marathon put out their operational report today. There was a bunch of stuff in there. They talked about how many Bitcoin they mined. It was actually a little bit underwhelming in my opinion, although I did expect that. There was a day near the end of the month where they mined 0 Bitcoin. I think it was on like November 28th or November 29th. I don't know what happened to that day. So, you know, that one day kind of put them a little bit. Anyway, they were at like 1,100 Bitcoin or whatever the case may be. So somewhere within the range of where we expected. That wasn't the point. The point is they were talking about the fact that they have $800 million in liquidity between their cash and their Bitcoin on their balance sheet. They crossed 14,000 Bitcoin in their hodl. So between those two things, they have over $800 million in liquidity. So I think it's fair to say that they are ready for the halving. In addition to that, at long last, they've been talking about 23 exahash for a long, long time. I know a lot of people were very disappointed. It took them a year longer than they expected, but they now are operational with 23.2 exahash. So that was at least a year later than they expected. And I know a lot of people will say, well, they missed a lot of opportunities as a result of that. But I mean, in reality, they're going to go into the having the largest Bitcoin miner by exahash every single month. They're the largest Bitcoin miner as far as the number of Bitcoin they mine. And yes, one of my issues with them is their cost per coin is a little high, but it's not that much higher. I think it's going to get better. And with Bitcoin at 40 or 45,000, you know, especially pre-halving, that starts to matter a little bit less. So those are all the reasons I am considering adding, buying Riot and Marathon tomorrow. Not financial advice. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking. Lee, thank you very much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Thanks for sharing. Yo, talking. Many blessings. I'm a maxi of 2 coins. Congratulations, Lee. Owns 2 Bitcoin. That is outstanding. Bitcoin and hashtag JesusCoin both are resilient. God bless. Thank you very much for the warm sentiments. Much appreciated. Congratulations on holding 2 Bitcoin. And, you know, I think George is on a call right now, so he's not listening. But to his point, there's going to be very few people in this world that even own 1 Bitcoin. So, Lee, for you to have 2 Bitcoin is going to put you in, you know, an elite group of people. So, you know, I don't know what your situation is, but, you know, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, you know, if Bitcoin does what Cathie Wood thinks is going to do, or Michael Saylor, or a bevy of other high-profile investors, you know, that could be worth millions of dollars at some point in the future. So, obviously, we don't know. There's no telling. Well, time will tell. But, so congratulations. And again, thank you for the super chat. Very much appreciated. Darren S. said, everyone taking profits today and hoping for a pullback leaves you no outs. If you're convinced pullback is probably coming, aren't you better off buying a few puts? I agree with that, Darren. I mean, everybody's got a different strategy. I don't like to try to time the market and sell today and hope that we get a pullback and buy, you know, tomorrow or next week or next month. You know, we were due for a pullback a month ago. I mean, from a technical standpoint, you know, I went through this with the members last week and the week before and the week before that. Everything we you know, the daily RSI had reached the highest point it's reached in years about a month ago. At the same time, you know, everything was showing. So from there, the MACD had a bearish crossover. So all the standard issue technical things that we look at, you know, and those are the 2 most basic and common things. And they're usually very reasonably reliable. But that's an important lesson. No one data point, whether it be technical or fundamental or whatever the case may be, no one data point decides what's going to happen. And there are always exceptions. None of these are perfect. So just always bear that in mind as you're looking at something and you find a pattern and you think, man, this has been perfect. It's going to break. It may not be this time, but nothing is perfect. My point to that was, if I go back to the Bitcoin 1-day chart, that was this period of time right here. In this period of time, the technicals were a nightmare. We should have had, well, I shouldn't say we should have. Typically, the most common outcome from a technical analysis was that in this period, we would have some consolidation and maybe a 10 or 15 or 20% pullback. Instead, after a 27% move to the upside, this period of consolidation, we moved up 11%. And then we moved out of this. Let me just get rid of this circle. We moved. So you can see this was resistance for a very short period of time. We moved out of this and then immediately into, and we're only 5 days into this, you know, another 16 or 17% move to the upside. So this has been an incredible, incredible run. And the point of that was, you know, to Darren's point, you know, if right here, as you were saying, well, it looks like we're overdue. We were in fact overdue for a pullback. So you could have tried to time this thing and get out. Well, if you did that, you'd be now from start to finish, you'd be 30% behind on Bitcoin. And on the Bitcoin miners, some of these are up 100 or 200 or percent or more in that period of time. So that's why I don't try to guess. We've all gone through our learning curve as investors, and you know, we've probably all tried to time the market at some point. And you know, typically I'm almost if I'm
Almost
perfect at anything,
100%
it's
wrong.
being wrong. Exactly.
Yeah, I know. I'm 100% wrong. 100%.
Just to show you what I'm talking about, I mean, this is the daily RSI. Most of you are probably familiar with this. If you're not, you know, and for Bitcoin, it probably should be 30 and 80, but 30% or 30 and below is considered oversold, and it's more likely that the price is going to go up. That's no guarantee. 70 is considered overbought, and you'll see the last 2 times that Bitcoin hit 70 on the daily RSI, it was immediately followed by a 20% pullback and an almost complete reset of the daily RSI. Well, this time, Bitcoin didn't hit 70, it hit almost 90. This line right here is like the all-time high for Bitcoin on the daily RSI. So we were overbought beyond belief. We were as due for a pullback as we've ever been, and it didn't happen. So this is what I'm saying. We can't just, don't think that technical analysis is perfect or that fundamental analysis is going to pay off in the short term. All of this is all part of your due diligence, and none of this matters, to George's point, if your time frame is longer term and you're buying, holding, dollar cost averaging in, then you're just going to do your thing through this whole period, whether it, you know, whether this had moved up 10% or down 20%. If you were just dollar cost averaging in along the way, that is a very popular, and historically it's been a very successful investment strategy. You know, I'm not telling you guys to do that. Everybody, you know, everybody has different things they do. There's some people that, you know, play massive leverage plays or whatever the case may be. So, you know, everybody has a different way of investing, but that's what I do. I think that's really what George does. And
I take a dart, throw it on the board.
yeah, I mean, you know,
It's hard when you're in a winner, you know, a crypto winner, to figure out the right strategy. You know what I mean? I know you just say to just keep dollar cost averaging in as it goes down and just keep focusing on that and knowing that it's going to correct itself. But you also said this: when people flood into a company, the price will take off. That is so true. Look at CleanSpark.
right. If you wait for it, these the Bitcoin miners, and really they fall into, you know, small cap, high growth, risk on type stuff. Those companies don't tend to move like, you know, these are not blue chip companies. These are not, you know, dividend companies where they're going to slowly move up or slowly move down. They may go sideways for a long time. They may go down. When they move, they tend to move fast. That's the volatility. That's, you know, so when I always say these are very volatile stocks, what George said is what I mean by that. And it goes both ways, to the upside and to the downside. So right now, fortunately, you know, well, we just had to pay 20 months of, you know, brutal price action. January, February, March of 2023 were actually outstanding months. And then we had a nice little push into July when all the Bitcoin miners peaked. But from July through October was a disaster for the Bitcoin miners. So, like I said, only CleanSpark has gotten back to where it was in July. Even if I look at, I'm going to go look
Even
at this.
any?
I'm going to,
Even any?
I was just going to go to that one exactly. Even any's up 62% today. So you would think, man, they got to be getting close to where they were, you know, in July. So this is where any was in July. This is $2.99. So
Oh, wow.
they still need to a move. They still need to go up another 70% just to get back to where they were in July. And that's after a day where they were just up 62%, which was after two other massive up days in a row. Remember, they're up 170% in the last 3 days. And they still need a 70% move to the upside just to get back to where they were this summer. So when I say that we were in a 4-month period, for those of you on the channel, for those of you who are subscribers, especially for those of you who are members, you know I do a weekly update, and we were counting. I mean, I had a graph I put every week: week 11, week 12, week 13. I mean, we were counting the weeks, and it was a nightmare. And it was like,
Well, how many weeks did we get to, Tom?
well, that last week was week 20, but you know,
Week 20.
there was
20 weeks
14
of pain.
there was 14 weeks that were brutal, and then things started to turn around. But 14 weeks is, you know, three and a half months of just, it's exhausting. It's exhausting, especially. Right. I'm going to bring up that chart. The hardest part about that period was Bitcoin was up right by week 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You're looking at Bitcoin taking out its highs, and all of a sudden the miners are still down 40%, 50%, 60%. Some of them were still down 70% in that, you know, 14, 15, 16 week period at that time. So that was particularly brutal. Let me just take a look.
If you would be so kind to hit the like button, it really helps out the stream. We've been doing these as Bitcoin goes into uncharted territory on this run. It's been here before, but this run, it's new.
This is new for this
celebrating. We're celebrating no misery.
Yeah, some joy. Listen, we all had to grin and bear it for a long time. So on the great days, we were here, and there's a lot of you that were here with us. So thank you to everybody who took the brutal part of this journey with us. But George and I were here on the good days, the bad weeks, the bad months, the bad year. So, you know, now we're glad to be on the other side of this. I'm going to start with this year-to-date chart. This now finally looks like it's supposed to look. We're starting to get, so Bitcoin, and this was through last Friday, and now obviously we've had a huge run even since then. So we're only at Tuesday of the next week, and this chart's totally out of date. But I'm going to still use it. As of Friday, Bitcoin was up 134%. If you look at some of these, CleanSpark was up 275%, Bitfarms 277%. The two biggest by market cap, Marathon and Riot, were both up over 300% year to date. So 3x is the leverage I expect to the upside out of these Bitcoin miners. And depending on the time frame, sometimes it's dramatically more than that. Sometimes it lags behind. So, you know, none of this is perfect. And the other thing I've been saying all year long, I believe there will be some winners and some losers. You know, in the last run, it was like throw a dart at the board. Whatever it hits, you're good to go. I don't think that's going to be the case this time. I think you're going to see, and we're seeing this. We're now almost done with this year. This is 11 full months. And you're going to see, you know, Core Scientific, I'm almost not counting. And Core Scientific is up. Core Scientific was leading the way, and it's had a huge run up this week. So, you know, it's still way out in front. But you know, Core Scientific is going to be coming out of Chapter 11, so that's kind of a unique story. So be careful with that one. Cypher's up 425%. I mean, you can see a lot of these were 2 or 3 or 4x leverages. 3 months ago, this was not the case. So by the end of the year, things have kind of gotten where they're supposed to be, and they keep getting better. On the flip side, any was still down 59% on the year prior to this move. Now, also, please remember, up 62% in a day does not cancel this out. When you're down 59%, a 62% move to the upside does not get you anywhere near back to break even. That's just the way the up and down of it works. So we just looked at the chart. They're not even back to where they were this summer. So,
So can I say something real quick?
please.
McNally, welcome, by the way. Colton, who told you about CleanSpark? Was it Tom or George? And then you told McNally. See, that's how that goes.
McNally, welcome.
We're a
Yes,
great,
welcome to the stream. I
but
just talked
we're
to
a great
somebody you just
community,
talked
and
to, by the way.
oh yeah, he was just saying Powers. Can't wait to see your interview with Powers.
I think
But
you were talking to. Sorry, George. I think
no,
you
no,
were
you're fine.
talking to him. He hung up with you and then did his interview with me. So it was.
Is Powers from across the pond too?
He is indeed. We
Oh,
had
okay.
an outstanding interview. If you guys think I talk a lot, I think he's got me beat. But
really?
we had an awesome conversation. We touched on a lot of different things. So I look forward to posting that
See,
tomorrow.
Colton, did you see that? See, McNally? See how the circle of life works? Just so you guys know. He said, touche, George, touche. That's funny. That's really funny. But it's great to have a community where we all get along and we all like each other.
For those of you not familiar with McNally Money, he gets a lot of interviews. So along with other videos, I just want to point out that and I do some of those, but Bryce does a lot more than I do, and so across a lot of different companies. So it's worth checking out. Check out his channel. He actually had me on the channel a few months ago, and hopefully we'll do that again. This has been crazy. I don't know how you do it. It's hard to keep up with. So, but welcome to the stream, and for those of you who don't know, this channel's worth checking out. Sorry, George. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. I know why. You see, that was my trader insights. Why miners like Riot do not have recent run-ups like CleanSpark. I also notice it's falling fast, but does not rise as much as CleanSpark.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
I can't read that one word.
I'm glad that we're on this chart, because while it feels like that, and that has been true in the short term, this is the year-to-date chart. So it's important to remember, if we look, so this is this year. While it feels like CleanSpark is crushing Marathon and Riot, if we look at what they've done this year, Marathon's up, Riot's up 306%, Marathon's up 301%. This was as of Friday, so these have changed a little, and CleanSpark's up 275%. So by now, maybe with this week's activity, CleanSpark has caught up to these guys, but they're virtually doing the same thing year to date. That's another thing that happens. These things move at different times, and don't think that that's an accident. That is another intentional way that big money takes little money or retail money, right? They beat down a stock and they rotate around, and as soon as they've kicked it, hard enough that us retail investors give up, that's when they rotate in and it runs. So they're buying low and selling high. Unfortunately, there's still too many retail investors buying high and selling low. Hopefully that's not any of you guys on here, but it's all too many retail investors. We know that is, an age-old story, unfortunately. And that has a lot to do with what everything George has been talking about and I've been talking about today. If you haven't done your own due diligence, if you don't have a plan, you're going to panic. You're either going to FOMO in at the wrong time, so you bought high, and then, when there's a pullback, which there naturally will be, you're going to panic and sell low. And I'm not saying, when I say you, I'm not saying any one of you in specific, but as retail investors, this is what tends to happen. And it's how the large institutions keep taking money away from the retail investors. This space was dead for a year and a half, right? Nobody cared. Nobody could care less for a year and a half about even Marathon and Riot, which are by far the most popular. Never mind, a lot of the less known Bitcoin miners. Like, all interest was lost here. Now it's coming back, which is good. And I think, the run, you can see We had a lot of people who fell asleep on these and didn't pay attention. You know, the top three of these, the top three by market cap, Riot, Marathon, and CleanSpark, if I adjust for this week, they're all up over 300% on the year. So, you know, show me another industry where you've got the majority, the bulk of the stocks, you know, up 100 or 200 or 300 or 400%. And we haven't gotten to the good part yet, right? I mean, it's going to get, well, I can't say it's going to, but, you know, if things play out the way they have in the past, the way we expect them to, ultimately, it should get a lot better than this.
So Tom, what is Marathon down overall from their high to what they are today?
I'm going to show you that, but I'm going to put a caveat. They're way off of their all-time high. Now, from a market cap, it's different. They're actually, this is their all-time high market cap. But the dilution they've done over the last several years is astronomical. Having said that, they're a totally different company. Remember, just time flies. I don't know, I guess it was almost 3 years ago now. They got into Bitcoin mining, I believe, in December of 2020. Remember, they were what was it, microgrid? They had some energy. They had a system that was going to save on your energy. And according to them, and who knows, but they say they bought a very, very tiny Bitcoin mining company in Georgia, facility, I'll say, as a proof of concept to prove out that their microgrid was going to save money. So that's their story, and they're sticking to it. Now, I don't know. They may have already made the decision to move into Bitcoin mining at that time. But, you know, they mined a handful of Bitcoin, 10, 20, 30 Bitcoin in December of 2020. In November of 2020, it was zero. This was not a Bitcoin mining company. So when they hit their all-time high, they really weren't even a Bitcoin mining company. So in that regard, it's really not fair to compare stock price from their previous all-time high because, you know, they had been mining Bitcoin for 1 month when they hit their all-time. I'm going to go to the 1 week. I'm not going to go back here. This is 2018. So I'm not even talking about these years. That's the ancient history. This was almost just a few days before January of 2021. And this was when, for those of you who have been investing for just a few years, you'll remember December of 2020, January, February of 2021, small cap, high growth stocks, it didn't matter. They were all going insane. They were all going, you know, up 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. I mean, look at the run in this stock from April of 2020. And that's not even fair because we all know that in March of 2020, events occurred that, you know, created a downturn in the stock. So if I go after that, back to where it was, from November of 2020, so this is a month. This was up 475% in whatever, a month and a half. That's what was going on with hundreds of stocks at this time. Now, obviously, there was a price to be paid because you can see the pullback was insanity. So in this instance, CleanSpark is a company that from its high to its low, you know, they were down 95 or 96%. So most typically, once a company's down 95 or 96%, that's on the way to 100% and out of business. But at no point, in my opinion, as I was looking at this, I dollar cost averaged in through, you know, the vast majority of this. At no point did this look like a company that was going out of business. In fact, from here to here, this is March of 2021. From March of 2021 to December, from March of 2022 to December of 2022, they were down 87%. And operationally, in my opinion, and I put out a monthly video every single month for CleanSpark, so you can go back and check. I thought this was an outstanding company. I thought they're operationally performing excellently. I thought they were executing a good growth. You know, their growth was monumental. So I thought they were clicking on all cylinders. I thought they were doing everything right. It's just that in the meantime, we were in a crypto winter. Bitcoin had collapsed and these stocks got dragged through the mud. The good ones, the bad ones, the medium ones. So at no point did I ever even suspect that there was, I don't think they were ever a company that was, on a trajectory to going out of business. Yet they still had a 95% pullback in their stock. These are dream scenarios. Not if you went from here to here, that's not the dream, but the dream is at $1.74, to me, I was very confident there was a many multiple move to the upside over the next several years. So, nobody knows exactly what those time frames will be, but they've continued, in my opinion, with their operational excellence. And now that was through last Friday. So this was from their low, not year to date. So from their low in December, they're up 442%. But that, there's a lot more room left to the upside on this stock, in my personal opinion. So for the Bitcoin miners that are going to succeed, I think, most of their charts look pretty similar to this chart that you're looking at right here. Down, I think 91%. I can't remember which one it was. I think 91% was the best down 91% was the best performing Bitcoin miner of the 19 that I've been following on this channel. That we've been following.
Tom, what's the most likes we've ever gotten on a stream, by the way? And if you would do me a favor, please like it. If you like it. If you want Bitcoin to keep pumping, we found that the more likes we have, the higher Bitcoin goes. I don't know if there's a correlation or not.
Informally, it could be possible that smashing the like button.
I'm just saying.
Could lead to a series of events that ultimately ends up in Bitcoin going up. We're still over 44,000, but we've pulled back to 44,000. That's on the 1 day. So, I mean, it's hard to believe I'm sitting here on the stream saying we've pulled back to 44,000. So you can see this represents a little bit of a pullback. Let me go back here because this is, for those of you familiar with the channel, I repeat myself. As always, there is a gold line here where Bitcoin was when the U.S. equity markets closed yesterday. So from yesterday's close until right now, we're up between 5 and 5.5%. So that was a super strong move for Bitcoin. And that's why when we look at the Bitcoin miners, and I'll try not to make this sound like complaining, some of the miners, Hive was up 3.9%, CleanSpark was up 4.9, almost 5%, but that's a 1-to-1 with Bitcoin. We expect better than that. Riot was up 0.9% on a day Bitcoin was up 5%. Marathon 2.8% on a day Bitcoin was up 5%. Cypher was down 6.5%. Gree was red, down 6.5%. Mawson was down 8%. DigiHost was down 6%. But one of the things to remember, Iris Energy was up 3%, BitDigital 4%, BitDeer 5%. So almost none of these stocks, only, it looks to me, obviously any, Sphere 3D, was up 62%. They outperformed Bitcoin on the day. The only other stocks that even outperformed Bitcoin on the day was Bitfarms up 11.4% and HUT up 8.47%. So, only two of these stocks outperformed Bitcoin today. But if you zoom out just a tiny little bit to the last 3 days or the last 1 week, the Bitcoin miners had run so far out ahead of Bitcoin in the short term that it's not surprising that there was some profit taking with this gigantic run up. I think that's what it is. Let me know if you have a different theory. I know
Tom,
Darren. Go ahead, George.
Sorry, everyone, but I have to leave.
All right, George, thank you.
Of keeping my marriage together.
Well, that is by far more important than our live stream. So thanks for joining
everyone.
us.
I really appreciate watching.
Thanks for joining us.
If it goes higher tomorrow, are we gonna have another stream tomorrow?
If we have a gigantic up day again tomorrow and set a new high
45,
for the year,
we're doing it. 45, we're doing it.
No, that's not a giant up day.
It's still up though.
46, and we have a live stream.
Okay. I'll see you guys. Thanks for watching. See you.
Have a good night, George. Thanks for joining us. Are we past your 2023 price target for Bitcoin? 68% said yes, 32% said no, 229 votes. That's the most votes we've ever had on a poll on our live stream. So I just want to do a quick poll here because we didn't do our standard issue poll. First of all, our standard issue polls on our live streams for the last many months is do you think Bitcoin's going to hit 40,000 by the end of the year? Well, we can't do that poll anymore. Do you think Bitcoin's going to hit 42,000 by the end of the year? We can't really do that poll anymore. We're way past that. And then our last poll, where we thought we were really reaching, was Bitcoin going to hit 45,000? So ignoring this anomaly on Coinbase, we haven't quite gotten to 45,000. It looks like somewhere around 44,500 was the peak, but I'm not going to do a poll. Are we going to get to 45,000? Because we're knocking on the door. We could get there tonight. So let's go higher. Okay. Oh, just one typo correction. All right. Do you guys think that Bitcoin is going to hit 48,000 by the end of the year? And that's another typo. I'm not talking about 20,000 years into the future. I'm talking about this year. That should say 2023. 48,000. We're at 45,000. So that is a target. I haven't even done this poll. I will tell you that my next line is at $48,240. So, and it seemed to me like there's not a lot standing in the way of where we are right now and $48,000. So the thing is, I didn't think we'd get to where we are right now. But now that we're here, I probably would have answered no to this yesterday. And I'm inclined to answer yes to this today. So, is that the very definition of FOMO? I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. But, based on the price action today and, the lines of resistance, we just blew through this line of resistance. And, this dates back quite some time. And, if you watch YouTube, a lot of people's lines are within $2 or $3 or $4 or $500 of each other. So I do know that 48,000 is that's a very common line. It's an important Fibonacci number from where we are right now. So, 48,000 is on a lot of people's radar, but I don't think it was on people's radar for a year-end price target. And I would have been hesitant to say, actually, my price target for the halving was $50,000. And I'm not going to change that just yet, right? We've had some massive movement to the upside, and we'll see what happens. For the moment, I've been saying for a long time that, my price target for the halving is $50,000. Obviously, I'm very, very tempted to raise that price target right now, but for the moment, I'm going to leave things be because we are still very overbought. So I do think I could see a run up. I could see a pullback right now. I could see a run up to 48,000. Again, I'm not allowed to vote, but if I were to vote in this poll, I'm going to say yes. I don't think there's a lot between us right now and hitting 48,000. So I do think we could do that, but we are wildly overdue for a pullback. So with this next run up, if we get to 48,000, I really feel like, you can see, let me delete this for the moment. Where's the delete? Come on now. This is not my normal keyboard. Okay. So you can see on the daily RSI, we are already way overbought. but we did just run up to almost 90. So this is what I'm saying. Like, I do think there's a little bit of room. And with the massive momentum that we have right now, I think we'll fill this gap and bounce off of this and maybe hit 48,000. Having said that, at some point, we've spent so much time overbought here. You got to believe at some point we're going to retest some number, right? You always hear people say, and I've said it 100 times, nothing goes up in a straight line. Well, at the moment, since really this day on October 15th, we've been going up, pretty much in a straight line here. So we are way overdue for a pullback. The question is, can we get to 48,000 prior to that? The other thing is, depending on how long that takes, if we get by chance a spot ETF in the middle, I do believe that's going to be a massive, massive catalyst for Bitcoin. So, there's external things going on here. Who knows where this run ends? So we will get a pullback. If there's one thing that we can be sure of, at some point we will get a pullback. But with Bitcoin, the question always is, how far is it going to run first? Because Bitcoin is capable of making, fantastic runs up and down. So at the moment, the momentum has been up for a long, long time. Aaron, super, super special thank you to Aaron for a super chat. And Aaron said, thank you, Tom. You are welcome, and thank you. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for watching, and obviously thanks for the super chat. That's very generous of you. Hopefully that means that you have had a good day, week, month trading, and you've made some good money. So appreciate you sharing with the channel. That could be tied for the all-time record. So much appreciated. We are a small channel, so believe it or not, that makes a difference for us. So thank you very much, and I hope everybody's portfolio is having a great week. I did think, I'm trying to catch myself. I keep wanting to complain about today, but even today was a great day for the portfolio, and it's, you get spoiled fast. So I thought today was going to be even better. At one point in the middle of the day, it was better, but this was yet another very good day. So hopefully everybody's, having a similar experience here. I know you guys all went through a long period of time that, Bitcoin, the Bitcoin miners were punishing us badly. So, congratulations to everybody who stuck with it. Ross, what are you saying? Thanks, Ross, for being a member. Chris Dominator, are you saying you went to all cash? For Chris Dominator saying 45K was the top. The dump just started. I'm not sure I believe that Chris thinks that. Maybe you do. Sometimes Chris likes to mess with us. I don't think that was the top. I'll just tell you, I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times, but I just see, and that doesn't mean that it's going to be tonight or tomorrow, and we may have a little pullback in the middle, but between now and the end of the year, I think I think the path has been cleared to hit 48,000 by the end of the year. So to go to the point of this poll, will Bitcoin hit 48,000 by the end of, I accidentally said the year 20,203, but obviously I meant this year, 2023. 80% of you feel yes, Bitcoin will hit 48,000 by the end of the year. So that is a noteworthy poll. We haven't had a poll. This is the most bullish results we've had in a poll in a long, long time. So I happen to agree with it. We'll see what happens, but I think I've said my piece. I think that's my new price target for this year. Not financial advice. I hope I'm right for my sake and everybody's sake, because, you know, what's good for one is good for all. French. I will mispronounce the rest of that, so I won't say it. Thank you very much for the super chat. And French said, with the price of Bitcoin going up, do you still think that Wolf is in danger with their debt? Wolf had a very impressive operational report, and I did run all the numbers last night on this. I think their cost per coin they reported was $11,000 and change. So at Bitcoin $45,000, if they're making $33,000 or $34,000 a coin, and they mined over 300 coins, life is starting to look a little bit better. We got to this point a lot faster. If it can stay here, they can erase a lot more of their debt than I expected. They still have a big hill to climb. So, I personally am not going to buy any Wolf, but I will say this. I think this changes the odds, pretty. If this price action can hold, we don't even have to run up from here. If this can hold, there's still 4.5 months left between now and the halving. They can erase a lot of their debt, with what's going on right now. So I think their chances went up a lot with this price action. And I did. All right. I must say I was impressed with their update. All of these updates, the network has gotten so enormous that with the amount of exahash all these companies have, it just feels like they should be mining a lot more Bitcoin. But, effectively, we've already had more than a halving with the increase in the size of the network. So when you put it in that perspective, the amount of Bitcoin these companies are mining, a lot of these companies had very good operational reports in November. It did help that the fees were up, but that's not, that doesn't drastically change their numbers, but obviously it did help. And TeraWolf had a great operational report in the month of November. And yes, I do think, that helps them. That it makes a difference. If Bitcoin had stayed in the 30 to 35,000 or even at 37,000, we were just at Bitcoin 34,000, just a month ago, a little over a month ago. At Bitcoin 34,000, that $10,000 difference times 300 coins, that's all gravy. That all goes right to the bottom line. So it's a big deal. If you have not voted, you can vote. So although this is a runaway, I'm going to end it. Will Bitcoin hit 48K by the end of the year? 80% say yes. So that's I love to see that. All right, I've ran long on this. We actually did start a little bit late due to our members only live stream, and this is an impromptu live stream. So I am going to wrap it up, but I really want to thank everybody for joining us. This was a kind of an out of the blue pop-up live stream. So thank you guys so much. Special thanks to all of the super chats. Super special thanks to Aaron. Much appreciated. Thank you to all the members who joined us on the members only live stream. And I see a lot of you over here in this live stream as well. So thank you. Thanks to all the subscribers. If you have not subscribed and you enjoyed this live stream and you enjoy this content, or if you're interested in the Bitcoin miners, please consider subscribing to the channel. It does help the channel out a lot. We are a very small channel. So I do appreciate each and every one of you that have subscribed. So thank you very much, everybody. Please enjoy your evening. Go Bitcoin. Let's see. We said, if Bitcoin can break 46,000 tomorrow, we'll do it again. I'm hoping either way. I'm hoping it breaks 46,000. That's a tall order. This was a big big run. And we now have 5 very nice green candles in a row. So we'll see what happens, but I do think good things are ahead. I agree, 48K by the end of the year, I think, is a very obtainable objective at this point. All right, everybody have a fantastic night. Thanks again for joining.